Okay, so as you can see, this is the Machina Machine Lord starter deck. Well, on the back of the box here, it gives you a quick overview of what actually comes in the box. As you can see, Machina is a Machine Lord, and most of the cards that come in the deck are actually machine cards. So although this deck is officially the Fire starter, it's not actually particularly good as that. Much better to convert it into a machine-based deck. Now I hear the two-player set, which is in the post to me, actually has a slightly better fire deck in that. So looking to convert this deck and the two-player deck into maybe three separate decent decks. So this is possibly one of the weaker of the starters, although it does include some very good cards to make good decks with, from what I'm hearing. So anyway, let's actually get in the box. Okay, so I just need to get the tape here dealt with, and then we can crack open the case. Okay, so just slide the contents out here. Oh, it's quite tightly fitted. As you can see, you get the kind of weird playmat. You get the quick start guide, and also the slightly more detailed rules. So it's pretty good that you get that in the starter. Don't have to go off and download it. A nice little cardboard insert to keep the cards safe, and here they all are with the lovely backs. So let's just get this open and have a look and see what's in store. Now obviously this is preset. Rather interestingly, non-foil ruler card. So he's meant to be pretty good, this card. Now what's interesting is obviously 800 on his J ruler side. On his regular side, not got any stats. Seems to be a common thread for the rulers and the J rulers. And this guy, he has a judgment cost that's a fairly reasonable 4. And he can pay X to search the deck for any resonators with a total cost of X or less, as long as it's got no attribute, so basically machines. So reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck, play this once per turn. So that's pretty good. He can go and rummage around in your deck. So this side's a pretty powerful ability. Then when the time is right, flip him over for your judgment. When it enters the field, you may put it up to 3 resonators and or additions with no attribute from your hand into field. So play 3 cards for free. Pretty good. And you can banish a resonator with no attribute to prevent all damage that would be dealt to this card. So keep him safe. He's also got this God Art ability, which is a once per game effect, where you pay 3 and basically he gives invulnerability to all the cards that are effectively void, which is this little icon down here. So I like this card. I think I could see there being a lot of fun with this. Yeah, nice. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, so this guy, the Flame King Shout, it's a 2 fire, 1 void to cast. It's a spell chance, so it can only be played in your turn. 400 damage to each resonator your opponent controls. And then you may put a fire resonator with a total cost of 3 or less from your hand into your field, and it gains swiftness, so it can then attack. That's pretty good. It's 4 of them, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them in the deck. And let's just check out that rather lovely back. Yes, lovely. Okay, enough drooling over the backs of cards. Let's look at the front. So, Snow White, the Valkyrie of Passion. She's going to cost you 2 and 1, just like the Flame King Shout. She's got swiftness and first strike. That's pretty nice. And whenever this card attacks, it gets a passion counter, and it may deal 300 damage to target resonator for each passion counter on it. If it does, remove all passion counters. And it comes with a pretty decent 500, 700, so much more powerful card than some of the ones we got in the Vingolf starters, for example. But quite nice card that. I can see that being quite useful. 4 of them. Okay, now we're getting into the kind of machine cards, ones with no attribute. Okay, so Clockwork Scout Plane, cost 2 void, flying, 500, 500, so Bit of a weenie, and I think, do we get 4 of those? Yep, 4 of those as well. This one I like, only costs 1, 300, 300. It's got a target attack, so it can attack recovered cards. And if you pay a boost, you can get it plus 200, but then it destroys itself. Really like this. I could see you building a sort of a rush type deck with these, where you can pop these out quite quickly, 1, 2, 3 a turn, and yeah, pump it up to do some ridiculous damage. 4 of those as well, so nice set of cards in here. Right, this card here, Imitation Dragon, costs 4, so pretty expensive, very big, 1,000, also flying, glad to see it. However, whenever it gets damaged, it's destroyed, so despite having 1,000 defense, yeah, it's going to die, which is a bit unfortunate. Only 2 of those, and that's, strictly speaking, an uncommon. Okay, Leginus, is that? The Mechanical City. Machines you control gain plus 200, plus 200, and then you can rest this card, paying 2 to target Resonator and make it lose flying, first strike, pierce, or target attack until the end of the turn. And if it does, another target Resonator gets that ability. So basically you can steal an ability from your enemy and give it to yourself. So get just a couple of those. Then we've got March of the Machine Lord, so nice little card here. 5 void. You may pay 1 less to play this card for each Resonator with no attribute you control. So yeah, that could be quite good. Resonators with no attribute you control gain plus 300, and swiftness. So you can suddenly slap down a load of cards and give them swiftness and whap, you know, you're in. 3 for Power Supply Team. Banish this card, recover a target Resonator. So 500, 500. Yeah, reasonable. I can see some uses for it, but not sure at the moment how useful it is. 4 cards for that. Then this rather lovely giant robot with our ruler sat on the shoulder there. So Marybelle, the Steel Doll. Cost 0, because it's a bit of regalia. So if your J ruler will be dealt damage, prevent 200 of it, so a little bit of a damage soak. And by paying 5, you can convert this into a 1,000 machine resonator until the end of the turn. And if you've got the right ruler, Machina, you can pay 2 less, so only costs 3. And by paying 1 and resting this card, you can banish this card, destroying a target regalia. So free regalia that you can use to destroy other regalia or convert into a 1,000 stompy robot of doom. So luckily you get 4 of those, and they are rares, so some nice cards being given to you in these starter sets. Nice little fire card here, 1 fire and 1 void. Flying, banish this card, you may pay 1 less to play judgment abilities of your ruler, and you can also pump this for 1 red. This card gains plus 100, and it comes as a base 400. 4 of those as well. Another machine here, so 1 void. What's that? Mechanical Sprite. 300 with an ability to gain flying for the cost of 1. So not a bad little card. Lots of flying in this deck, which could be quite powerful if your opponent doesn't have any flying. 4 of them. Then we get into the stones, and got some nice artwork on that. Nice lavery firestone. So yeah, I think that's a pretty nice deck, I have to say. I can see some really good uses for this deck. So let's just grab the deck here, get that all sorted out, and pop it to one side. And let's have a look at the playmat. Okay, so the playmats you get in the starter deck has a spot for your magic stones, a spot for your magic stones that you've actually played, a spot for your ruler, a standby area, which is a special area for your decks, a graveyard and your main deck, a little reminder of how to play, and then this area here for actually deploying your cards. Now this is where this doesn't work. So you could play with this playmat, but I would actually deploy your cards above here if you want to use this, because this area is pathetically small. You could probably fit 3 cards at best across here. So you're going to run out of room really, really quickly. But it's got some nice artwork on it, and it's a lovely idea. It's just a shame it's not very practical. On the other side, shame they didn't go with some nice full artwork, so at least you'd have a nice little wall poster. But there you go. Nice little addition, but a little bit pointless. They probably could have cut out on this just to save a little bit of money. The actual quick play rules, they're pretty good. As I say, starts off telling you how to win, gives you a breakdown of the cards, how they work, how the costing system works. So that's quite a nice little addition. Then when you flip over to the next side, a bit more detail on the cards, various bits and pieces, and then the most important bit of all, if I can try and remember to stop calling red cards red, because they're actually light, fire, water, wind and darkness. When you flip over, obviously it gets into a little bit more detail about the playmat, as I've just been discussing. And then the actual bit you need to pay attention to is on the other side here, with how to set up the game, how the turn sequence works. It then breaks out to give you what you can do in your main phase, gives you a load of information. It then breaks out to say you might declare a battle. So it goes through what to do in a battle. Talks about this ability called chase, which is effectively when someone's done something you can respond to it. Some cards actually prevent you doing that. And then all about what this term judgment means. So I am actually going to make sure I do a video on how to actually play the game to supplement going through the starter box. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed my quick look at Machina, the Machine Lord. And I think this is a pretty good deck, way better than ones that come in the Vingolf starter set. But apparently, kind of as it is straight out of the box, one of the weaker decks, but can be made into a very powerful fire deck or a very powerful machine deck. The problem with it at the moment is trying to do a little bit of both.